Good morning, friends. It is a beautiful, cold but not too cold day. Look at those clouds. Beautiful sky. And we have a lot to do today. It is milk pickup day. We need to get things ready to start our seeds because that's happening next week. It's almost time to start tomatoes and peppers and onions. And I have some chicken coop maintenance to do today. It's not quite time. In a couple of weeks' time here, I'm going to need to clean out the coop. And we've been doing the deep bedding method all winter, which basically just means that you just keep layering on pine chips on top of all of the chicken poo and more pine shavings. We have a new chicken tractor we're going to put out the patch over there. I'm going to do school kids and then I get to do all those chores. Good morning, ladies. Do you have the pink egg?
And don't drop it.
One of our chickens started laying pink eggs. I think it's a barred rock that's laying them. Doesn't look pink in this light, but when you
Like the striped one?
put it in the, yep, the striped ones are the barred rocks.
That chicken is away. When did you learn this, Mom? When did you learn how to do chicken stuff?
When I read about it. We had, how did this happen?
The gas let his truck go and blew it out. His big, massive gas truck just went rolling across the farm with nobody in it, loaded with gas.
Took out our fence.
But they reimbursed us. Alto Gas, thank you. I said, don't worry about it. Just reimburse us and just give us gas. Gas is good.
Yeah. No, we just have a big piece of fencing. We need to get a dumpster here in the next couple of months and get that popped in there. Alright, here's our other barn. And this is the barn I had envisioned to put them in simply because it's already a three-sided structure. Pigs just need three sides. And then we can put bedding in there and then pop a fence around here. The issue is we don't have water. Look at, they're just hanging out. Just hanging out. Bye.
They're just all over today. They're getting out like the sun. Here's a couple babies.
Yeah. So we need to, if we're going to put them out here, we either have to haul water, which is not that big of a deal, or get a well dug. I mean, something we will do eventually out here. We do need to shore things up a little bit in here. There have been animals making their homes in here. And obviously some animals have come and deposited some ears of corn. But I feel like this is a good spot because, babe, pigs really like wooded areas too. So if we extended their fencing out into this wooded area over here, they could root around in there. So once a week every Wednesday we pick up our raw milk share for the week, so we don't have any dairy animals yet. But we are fans of real milk. And by real, I mean raw, as in not pasteurized or homogenized or any of those things. So here in Michigan, so how it works is you buy a herd share. You buy actually a share of cow. And so you kind of own a portion of a cow. And then it's sold for pet consumption. So we get it once a week. It's delicious, you guys. It's so good. After you've had real milk, it is really hard to drink the pasteurized stuff from the store. You're like, ugh, this is not good. It's like trying to eat store-bought tomatoes after having tomatoes that you grew in your own garden. It's just disappointing. So every week I drive to a local farm that's about 5 minutes, 10 minutes from my house, and I go in and I get my gallon and take it home. It comes from a farm that is about an hour south of here, and they drive it up every week. They also occasionally offer other things. It's really nice. Like we got a gallon of maple syrup from them. In the summer they'll have, like last summer I got a huge, I forget how much it was, but a couple of bushels of peaches that I canned up. And this is the same farm where I get my hog that we purchased, although this year we're doing our own pig, so that's fun. Where we've got our cow, our grass-fed ground beef in the past, and that's where we'll get it this year until we do our own. So it is really helpful to be able to connect with a local farmer and find your resources that are near you so that you can buy things that are more local, more sustainable, instead of having to depend on the grocery store. Because I gotta tell you, it's really nice to know that when ground beef, the price is jacked way up because of supply chain issues or whatever. Do you guys know that like 80% of the beef that you get in the grocery store comes from overseas somewhere, mostly China? That we don't have to worry about that because we have a freezer full of beef, or we can go to a local farm and source it. So that's really helpful. Highly recommend. I will leave the link. There is a website you can go to called www.realmilk.com that will tell you where you can get milk in your state. So I'll leave that in the description below. Hey guys, we are home from taking Abby to dance and getting our raw milk, and now it's time to cook dinner. And today on the meal plan we have chicken enchilada casserole, which is not really a recipe. It's just something I kind of made up. It's like a lasagna meets chicken enchiladas. And I don't even know if it's really chicken enchiladas because I don't think I've ever actually had chicken enchiladas, but what I have is leftover chicken and enchilada sauce. So I made this a few weeks ago and the family liked it, or at least they ate it. And so we're making it again. So every week, beginning of the week, I make a meal plan, and I just do dinners. That way I know what I need to get from the store and roughly what I'm gonna make every day. If I don't do that, we will end up getting takeout. We allow ourselves a one night out a week usually, and so this is what we're doing tonight. And this is basically just an assembly job here. There's only one thing I gotta cook, and that is I need to saute some onions and peppers. Okay, so onion and bell pepper. Andrew cooked a couple of chickens over the weekend. He smoked them and they're delicious. So we're gonna use those. I have some pre-made enchilada sauce. I didn't make it. I want to this summer with my garden tomatoes. I want to make our own enchilada sauce and can it. I'll let you know how that goes. So people ask a lot what kind of cookware I use. I use primarily cast iron and stainless steel. The key to cooking with cast iron, here's the key. One of the keys. You need to preheat it so it's good and hot, and preheat the fat that you're using. Whatever oil you're using, you need to have it ready to go it won't be nonstick. So I always keep a discard bowl, a scrap bowl, right next to wherever I'm cooking, so that I can put scraps in there that I'm gonna give to the chickens. Most things they can't have onions or garlic or like citrus peels, but they get a lot of scraps. They're pretty well fed chickens. And I am so not a picky chopper. Just heard the beep. I've got the oven preheating to 375. This is gonna come together super quick once I get all this sauteed. I don't like to spend a ton of time cooking meals because, as you can tell, we do a lot around here. So we do like to make as much as possible from scratch, and we're working on making more and more things from scratch all the time. So we just made our own homemade egg noodles for the first time the other day. I guess that was Monday for beef stroganoff. They turned out very well. I was very pleased. Okay. All right, I'm gonna season this with onion powder, garlic powder, a little bit of ground cumin, and some chili powder. Maybe a little bit of oregano. Y'all will find I do not follow recipes. Recipes are really just guidelines. All right, while that's sauteing, I'm gonna get my other things ready to go. I have a whole bunch of leftover chicken. Just gonna grab a bunch, chop it off, chop it up. Probably leave the skin out. I don't know how much, not too much, a couple cups. All right, those are done enough because they're gonna cook a little bit more. We're gonna basically just assemble this like you would make a lasagna. So some sauce in the bottom. I am using a pre-made red enchilada sauce. This is from Siete. I love this brand for, as far as like processed food goes, convenience food, this is about as healthy as you can get. Really good ingredients. The ingredients, let me tell you: tomatoes, water, apple cider vinegar, chili powder, avocado oil, sea salt, dates, chia seed, flaxseed, porcini powder, that's a mushroom powder, onion powder, garlic powder, cumin, black pepper, oregano. Doesn't get better than that, you guys. So, like I said, I want to make my own with our own tomatoes, but for now, this is what I'm using. So, just like if you're making a lasagna, you'd put some on the bottom so that stuff doesn't stick. That's what I'm gonna do. Andrew said not to be afraid of the sauce. He wanted more sauce on his last time, so I'm gonna make sure that I've got plenty of sauce. And then we're just gonna layer it. So we're gonna start with some tortillas. These are just corn tortillas. You could use flour. I might have to switch over because I don't know how many I have. What do you think, Joe? Okay. Now we can do some chicken.
Smells good.
Yeah, it does.
This.
Oh yeah, the enchilada sauce?
Yeah.
It's delicious. Then we can do some veggies.
The jaws.
Veggies.
The jaws.
And then we gotta do some cheese. I am
You
just
just
using
got-
pre-shredded Mexican blend cheese because that's what I have. I'm not gonna be shy on the cheese here. This is not like, you know, a health food meal, but it will be delicious. Okay, then we're gonna do more tortillas. Just keep layering. I know typically enchiladas are like a rolled thing, but Joey might get more chicken out. Typically enchiladas are rolled, but I do not have time for that, so we are doing this. We are doing this the easy way and just making it like a lasagna.
Is it a lasagna?
It's like lasagna. It's like a taco lasagna, really.
Why are you putting food in it?
I think this might be our last layer. Maybe. I think so. I think we'll go a little denser on the tortillas this time. Yeah.
What does dense mean?
Dense means like more. Hey, bud, can you get the chicken out of the fridge for me? We need more chicken.
What's chicken?
This is the chicken.
What's chicken? Give me chicken. I'm just having a clementine.
Okay. Need to get more chicken.
Why do you have to cut it up?
To make it easier to eat. Y'all, you could use any leftover chicken with this. You could use your rotisserie chicken if you don't roast your own. The rest of the veggies.
For Meyer?
You for rotisserie chicken from Meyer?
Uh-huh.
You like their rotisserie chicken?
I love it.
We've got a little bit of sauce left, so we're just gonna use it up, pour the rest on. And then
The pan is full!
all this cheese on top.
No, just a minute.
No,
Just
no,
a
no,
minute.
what?
I need
Okay. All right. See how quick they
Love me
came
some
together?
cheese.
All right. I'm gonna cover this with aluminum foil. I'm gonna tint it so that the foil's not like cooking on the food. And I'm gonna pop it in the oven and cook it for probably
2 million years.
a half an hour, and then I'm gonna take off the foil and I'm gonna let the cheese brown and bubble, and then we're gonna serve it with probably some salsa, maybe some sour cream, some cilantro, some avocado, and yeah, maybe some pickled jalapeno. What do you think, Joe? Huh?
Like the thing account.
Okay, I'm gonna get this cleaned up and then we need to start another loaf of bread. Okay, we need to make a loaf of bread. We are just making a basic loaf of white bread. And you'll notice I don't measure any of this either. The only thing I measure is the water, so that I know that I'm starting with the right amount of water, because from there it goes by feel. So I have 1 3/4 cup of warm water. And what we're doing here, this first step, is called the bloom, okay? Then we're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of honey. You could use regular sugar if you want it. I don't even know if I have 2 tablespoons in here. This is just about gone, but I've got a huge bucket of honey coming in my hazard order. Need to get more honey. Okay, found some more honey. Oh, now I can't get it over. Just had to run it under some hot water. All right, ooh, look at that. See that in there? That's good honey. Can't even get this out. All right. It's about 2 tablespoons. So I'm gonna dissolve the honey into the warm water. And what we're gonna do here is activate our yeast. I keep my yeast, I buy yeast just from Costco in bulk, and then I store it in the fridge for what I like for immediate use, and then the rest of it I store in the freezer. Okay, that's mostly dissolved. Whoops. in about 2 tablespoons of, this is just active dry yeast. Seriously. Okay, now we're gonna let this sit. We're just gonna put it in a warm-ish spot on the countertop and we're gonna let it sit for about 15 minutes. All right, it's been about 15, 20 minutes. Do you see how this is kind of foamy like that? That bloom is important because what it does is it activates the yeast and it lets you know that your yeast is alive. This yeast is live active yeast. It can die. So our next step, we're gonna add a couple teaspoons of salt. Make sure you're using a good quality salt. A couple tablespoons of oil or butter. I usually use avocado oil, but I'm out of that. I have more coming next week in my Azure order. And then from here, what I do is, this is gonna drive y'all nuts if you're a recipe person, because I can't tell you how much flour to add. It is roughly 2 to 3 cups, but that is gonna depend on a number of factors. I just start sprinkling it in a little bit at a time and stirring it up. It depends on a number of factors, how much you're gonna add. It depends on your elevation, it depends on how dry your house is. I mean, all kinds of things. So, what type of flour you're using. I am just using straight up, all-purpose, unbleached, organic flour. And I'll tell you how you know that you've added enough in. You can do this with your hands. I like to use a fork. It does get a little messy. You can also do this in a stand mixer. I've got a KitchenAid mixer back there that I use sometimes. If I'm doing a ton of different things at one time, but I'm not. So I actually like to knead. I find it therapeutic. How you'll know that you've got your dough saturated is that it will start to come together in a ball and pull away from the sides like this. And I tend to do mine a little bit shy of that because I am gonna add in a good amount more flour as I'm kneading it to keep things from getting sticky. So I tend to go a little bit light on that. So I'm gonna just spread it around, just get yourself a clean work surface. You can use marble, you can use wood, any countertop space, really doesn't matter. Dump this out. Set my bowl aside because I'm going to save that for later. Now's where you get in and get your hands dirty. And now you're going to knead. And you'll figure out what works best for you. But you're going to knead it for like anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes. And I'll tell you how you know that it's done. Just keep kneading. As it gets sticky, just pick up some more flour. This is a very basic bread recipe, and it's my kids' favorite because it's basically just plain old white bread. For about 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, and you can see it's still kind of rough and shaggy. What we're looking for is for it to get really smooth. It's going to get really smooth, and we're going to do something called a window pane test. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little ball of dough, we're going to roll it up, and we're going to hold it up to the light. and you can't see right here, but when I hold it up to the light, I can't see the light through it before it breaks. So I'm gonna keep kneading for another few minutes here. Okay, so this is after about 8 minutes or so, and do you see how that's nice and smooth on the top there? I'm gonna take a chunk, I'm gonna roll it into a ball, and I'm gonna stretch it, and I'm gonna hold it up to the light, and if it stays, I can see the light through it before it breaks, and we're good to go. And we are. Just gonna give it one last little knead, and then I'm gonna take my bowl back, flour it so that my dough doesn't stick. Kind of a lot of flour. That's all right. Pop this in here. I'm gonna cover it with a clean kitchen towel, and I'm gonna put it in a warm spot in my kitchen to proof. It's gonna take about an hour. I know, in my kitchen. You want an orange? Yes, I'll get you one. It's gonna take about an hour, and I'll tell you how you know when it's done. That looks so good. All right, and voila. You want salsa and sour cream?
Mmm.
Give this big.
Big one. Mmm.
This is super hot.
Yes!
Alright friends, I just got back from, kitty, picking up sister from dance there, and so it's been a little bit longer than an hour because I had to go get Abby from dance. But you can see sort of those two indents over there. That is how you know that it is proofed. Obviously you can see that it's risen. It's like, I have children crawling over the floor. It's about doubled in size. And so what you're gonna do is, you're gonna take your two fingers and just poke. If it bounces right back immediately, it's not fully proofed yet, but if it leaves sort of indentations in there, then it is ready for its second proof. So, you're just gonna pull it out onto the counter here, and you're gonna do what's called punching it down. So you're literally just gonna punch it. Give it a good punch. All right, y'all, it's busy around here right now. I got people getting snacks. I got animals running around and... Okay, we punched it down, and then we're just gonna shape it. And to do that, you literally just kind of roll it up like that.
See we do.
Yeah. And then you want it to be about the same length as your bread pan that you're gonna, this is a cast iron pan. Usually I spray this with like avocado oil or something, but I'm out. But that's okay because I don't like wash this in between every time I use it, so it's still got plenty of oil.
And it's seasoned.
Yeah, it's seasoned. So then I'm just gonna take this and I'm just gonna give it a couple of whacks on the counter like this, and that's just to get out any air bubbles. Okay? I'm gonna put it in my bread pan. I'm gonna cover it again and put it back in the same warm spot for another 15 minutes or so. All right, friends. Second proof has happened. Looks like this now. It only takes about 20 minutes for the second one. And how you can tell that this one is done, I just stick a couple of knuckles in there. And again, if it stays indented like that and doesn't pop back right away, it's pretty much ready to go. So now we're gonna put this in a preheated 375 degree oven for 35 minutes. Okay, it is done. And now comes the hard part of letting this cool all night. you are not allowed to cut into it. What I usually do is turn it out. Not usually one-handed. There we go. And then I just let it cool right on my board. It's quite hot. Whew. Overnight. If you cut into it right now, you will ruin the texture. What you need to do, because there's a lot of steam still in there, so what you need to do is let it continue, just cool here overnight, and then when you cut into it tomorrow, it won't be all crumbly and fall apart on you. If you want to eat it now, like with a meal, that's fine. It'll be delicious and hot, and butter will melt on it so perfectly, but just know that it'll be a sacrificial loaf because it won't slice up very well for you after that. So that is a lovely, simple loaf of white bread. Good morning. It is the next day. Our bread has cooled. I know that it is hard, especially my daughter loves the end piece nice and hot, and unless we're gonna eat it right then, I never let her have it, but we can. Let me show you how satisfying this is to cut into. Here we go.
I like it when the inside is still slightly warm.
There you have a lovely loaf of homemade bread that only took about 10 minutes of hands-on time. The rest of the time was just waiting around. Totally worth the time investment. Right now, we don't eat a ton of bread, so I only make a loaf about every 3 days or so. But this is every bit as good as, if not better than store-bought bread. So we are gonna head to Homeschool Co-op, and I will see y'all later. Have a blessed day.